Hi guys, it's PanelHopper here again. I'm back, this time with my review of Thunderbolts, the new MCU movie. Obviously, if you've been following my channel for any length of time at all, you'll know that although I did enjoy lots of the MCU TV shows and movies last year, Wolverine, Deadpool, Agatha All Along, this movie that's just come out this week was the one I was really looking forward to in terms of the premise and the characters involved. So, what is this? It's essentially Marvel's version of Suicide Squad. It's a villain team up movie because they're the only option to save the world from a bigger threat. But this isn't like a Suicide Squad. It's not trying to be edgy. It's actually relatively earnest in its emotional themes. And it's very much a follow-up to Black Widow. If you've seen Black Widow and you're aware of the emotional kind of connection between Black Widow herself, her sister Yelena, who we might refer to as White Widow from now on, and the Red Guardian as kind of Soviet-era heroes and spies, as well as Bucky Barnes as the Winter Soldier. And this is, despite the fact that, you've got Bucky Barnes as the Winter Soldier, John Walker as US Agent, Yelena and Red Guardian and Ghost in this, as well as Sentry. That's a spoiler, by the way. Sentry's the main bad guy in this. The main emotional focus remains Yelena and Red Guardian's relationship, and it's very much about the emotional stakes of these characters learning to become heroes by working through shit rather than by having a big fight with Sentry. There are 2 fight scenes in the entire film, and they consist of one fight with each other in a vault, and one fight with Sentry where he immediately decimates them and then turns into the void as soon as he's incapacitated. So that's if you're wanting to go into this movie and see a Suicide Squad style team up where there's a lot of action, that's not what this film is. This is more of a kind of emotional piece, but I don't think it's a bad thing because of that. I actually think it's probably one of its best qualities. I really enjoyed all that part of it. In terms of it's much closer to the kind of ground level MCU stuff you see in Daredevil or Echo, for example, than it is to an Avengers movie, despite the fact that it's deliberately linking itself to the Avengers section of the MCU. We're talking about something that has an incredibly realistic color palette and realistic emotional stakes rather than lots of superhero action. I will say that Sentry is very cool. I was obviously vaguely familiar with him just through osmosis of being a Marvel Comics superfan. You know who Sentry is, but I'd never read a comic with him in. So to see him in action was pretty cool, but it's always more about the emotional stakes. And on that basis, I would give this movie a pretty high score. I don't do a score scale, as you've seen from my reviews. I give a kind of generalized feeling of what I feel about the film. And yeah, I really like this. I would highly recommend it, but only if you're in a good emotional state. It's dealing with some heavy emotional themes. It's about those emotional themes. You're not coming in for a kind of a roller coaster ride. You're coming in to have these characters kind of dissected and learn their place with each other as a team, and then move forward into this new version of the MCU that we're clearly working towards. But it gets a thumbs up from me. Thunderbolts, it's a good movie. And even with the title change, it's a good movie. I won't spoil the title change in the thumbnail or the title, but if you've got this far in the video, you should know the actual title of this movie is The New Avengers, which is why the asterisk has been in all the marketing. But I assume if you're watching this, you knew that by now. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Subscribe to the channel for more. Bye.